Welcome to For Your Fitness Television. I'm so glad you chose to tune in and join us today. We have an amazing show planned for you. I'm so excited. We have a guest with us, which I'll tell you in just a few moments, with us. And, you know, the 4E philosophy, 4E Fitness Television, I take a few moments to tell you and remind you what we stand for. You know, we don't stand for just a workout or an exercise routine or even just a devotional. We stand for the entire person. The 4E philosophy is very, very simple. It contains 4 parts. Each person has 4 parts of who they are: the physical part, the intellectual part, the emotional part, and the spiritual part. And just like you would imagine a large wheel that has 4 spokes on it, we can't take a spoke out of that wheel without it suffering as it turns through life, as we roll through life, if you will. If we pull a spoke out, we're going to collapse. So the 4E philosophy is very, very simple. We want you to take inventory of where you are in those areas and spend time on a daily basis investing time and effort into those areas to get development. Because I know that it's true, and God showed me and confirms in His Word that if we spend time in those 4 areas, we will be a whole, complete person. So you've heard it said by me many times before, yes, I'm a bodybuilder, but I'm not just a outward bodybuilder. I am a total bodybuilder. I want to be well inside, well outside, for the purpose being totally to glorify God with everything I am. I want to be healthy physically, emotionally, intellectually, and I want to be healthy spiritually. And many times we see people neglect one area or the other. And friends, I want you to know that we need to spend time. They're equally important to be a whole, total person. You know, today, the whole theme of today, I want you to go with me here, is the word example. When we think of the word example, we sometimes get the wrong idea of what that is. But we need to understand what example really is. It is something that is going on all the time, 24/7, 365, all the time. There is examples taking place, whether it be something we watch on television, somebody we see in the grocery store, interaction with our friends or family or co-workers, if you will. We're always watching and observing and seeing how people respond to life situations, seeing how they react, seeing what they do, seeing what they say. And the Bible is very, very specific when it talks about example. Now, I brought my Bible with me today. I want to read you a couple of very short passages. The first one is found in the book of Titus, chapter 2. And I'm going to read to you just 3 verses here that I want you to really catch, and I'm going to switch over to another passage in 1 Timothy in just a moment and read with you what it says. First of all, in Titus chapter 2, verse 6 through 8, I'm going to read these 3 verses quickly here. Similarly, encourage the young men to be self-controlled. In everything, set them an example by doing what is good. In your teaching, show integrity, seriousness, and soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing bad to say about us. The whole concept of example is very, very simple. You know, many times example starts with the concept of encouragement. We are an example on how we encourage others. We give them courage. We empower them. We build them up with courage. We don't discourage, we encourage. And I want you to be encouraged today because you're in the right place at the right time, hearing the right word in the right season. Be encouraged. Encouragement starts something called example. I want to set an example to you by giving you courage. Courage that I have, not because I'm good, not because I'm special, but because I'm saved. I have a relationship with Jesus. He loves me so I'm encouraging you with His encouragement today. Example is very important because people these days sometimes don't have courage. It's important to be encouraged. Today, somebody is always watching what we do. You know, I've heard it said by a well-known sports figure a few years ago. He said, I am not an example. I don't want to be a role model for people. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. Every person's a role model, whether it be a kid in school, whether it be a mom taking her kids to a soccer game, whether it be a person shopping in a grocery. There are people who are always watching. Aren't people today searching for the truth? Aren't they searching for real? One of my favorite things that I've said, and it's something I truly believe in, that the best sermon that I ever heard was one I saw. today people are talking, and you know, noise is the definition of noise is words without action. That's just noise. People are tired of noise. They want to see action. They want to see example. The second passage I want to read to you today, as I told you, is in 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 12. Again, it uses the word example. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for believers in speech, in life, in love, and in faith. That pattern is the same as we found in Titus. In everything we do and everything we say, we are to set an example, because we're setting an example whether we want to or not. And it's important to understand that this passage is talking about young people. Now, part of the reason I had the guest with me today is because our job and our mission, part of that at 4E, is to go into schools and encourage young people and say, you're important, you're loved, we care about you. Set an example to those that are your little brother, your little sister. Set an example sometimes to your parents. And we encourage young people. And the guest I have with me today, I've known him for over 10 years. He is a wonderful brother, a wonderful friend. Our paths have crossed, have intersected so many times before. And the guest I have today is, I want to say, because it's important, he is Dr. Scot Cressman. So Scott, thank you so much for having me. As you can see, Scott here has a, what is that? Is that a cast?
That's a cast.
Okay. I can't wait to hear that story. And I was there when this happened, so it's important to understand that Scott is with me here today. I've known him for a few years. And Scott, why don't you take a few minutes to tell everyone about yourself, and then I want to get into the reason and what happened to your hand.
All right. Well, I appreciate you letting me be here today. Sure. It's been an awesome journey. Like Mark said, I've known him for quite a while. We used to travel together all over the world and did some amazing things. My favorite thing about what you had just said about being an example, it is exactly that. You have, and with kids today, they have to see. And you know, most of the kids we talk to, they don't have role models. And the ones that they do, I don't know if I consider them a role model, because of what they do off the field or off the court is just different. So it's important that guys like us and who you've had on earlier, that come in and actually can live by what they say and do with what they say. One of my favorite, in fact, just happened yesterday, Mr. Zig Ziglar passed away. And he's been my mentor for a long time as far as speaking. But he has always been one of those people that have lived by what he speaks, and just a wonderful man. But anyway, I just really believe in ministry and how we go out and what we do and what we talk to kids about, making good choices in their lives and being good friends, and all of the junk that they have to deal with today, different than when we did. I mean, I don't know, remember when I was 3 and 4, 5, 7, I would be happy going out in the backyard, digging some little dirt with my spoon and some cars. We'd have so much fun. Nowadays, if you're not on Xbox and you don't have all this stuff on TV, and it's just a different mentality. And kids don't get out and play. And you know, the NFL has this Play 60, all these different programs that are out there for young people. But I really believe that we need to get young people to understand, like you had said, we're all 4 parts. We're not just physical, we are spiritual, and all the other parts that go along with us. And it's amazing that you do that, and that it can be done, and that schools still allow us to get in there and talk to kids. And believe it or not, knowing that we stand for something that is greater than what they are in the Lord, and we can bring that forth in how we speak and say. So it's really good. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's cool because when we do these school assemblies like this, you know, a lot of times people say, well, you're going to go in there, you're Christians, you're going to talk about God. But you know what? I learned something very powerful, and it's this, and I want everyone to really understand what I'm talking about when I say this. It's not what you say, it's what you do that really matters. And a lot of times we go into schools, and even though we don't say, I am a Christian, I love God, God loves you, there is something. There is someone inside of us that shines through, and his voice speaks, and people see a difference. They see an example. And Scott, we recently were in a town in Arkansas, and man, that was a cool experience. What was some of your highlights from there?
I loved I loved the experience of getting into those schools, and some of those kids have never seen anything like what we did. And the paper did a story on the ministry and what we did, and it was great how the town of Jonesboro kind of came together and want to welcome us back even and say, come back and touch us with all of the schools that you can do and the teachers and all the different things that we can help. And so to me, it was a great time of ministry and talking. And like you said, I agree with ministry is not necessarily when we speak on television or behind the pulpit, but who we are behind the scenes and the things that people don't see on television and don't see. That's ministry, and that's what I saw when we were there behind the scenes, and it was great.
Yeah, you know, and it's really something to understand when we do these school assemblies like this. We use feats of strength. Scott and I have traveled with different strength ministries, strength evangelism ministries for years, and we tear phone books and blow up hot water balls and bend steel bars and break bricks, and it's just simply designed to get the young people's attention.
Yes.
And we get their attention, that you can get their hearts. And Scott can vouch for this, and it's true when I say this to you, that man, we struggle with things too. We're not perfect. We have that courage to stand up and say, you know what, I am not perfect, but I depend on God to make me an example, because He is my ultimate example. He's in my life, you know, and I've had a relationship with Him since I was 8 years old. And Scott, you know, I'm curious, and I've heard the story, but how did you begin your relationship with Jesus Christ?
Well, I was blessed to, a lot of people would say I was brought up in a home that my parents were Christians. We went to church when the doors were open, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, for most of all of my life. And when I was 16, I finally had come to a point when I realized that there was something that I needed to make a choice for myself, not just go to church because my parents said go to church. And I was blessed to have a really great youth group. We had about 120 kids in our youth group up in Pennsylvania, and had a really great 4 or 5 years there before I left to go to college. And when I left, I went to Springfield, Missouri from Pittsburgh, and went to a Christian college in Evangel in Springfield, Missouri. And it's amazing the things that go on behind the scenes at a Christian school. And not all of them are great and good and uplifting. But I had a chance to really, again, focus on what do I believe? Am I just here to ride on the skirts of a Christian school, or do I need to make a choice in and of myself? And football was one of the things I'd always dreamed of wanting to do, and had a chance to, after graduating, go on and become a free agent, tried a couple of different things, bounced around a couple teams, and then knee surgery set in, and then just the power team came to town one day, and it was a strength ministry that was involved with speaking, which I enjoyed, and then also a lot of athletics. And as you know, and that was something that I really enjoyed. I didn't want to quit being an athlete because of all the props and encouragement it gets from the public. But I also knew that I wanted to speak to people, and so it was kind of a good fit for a while. And then going back to school, I knew that I needed to I loved talking with people one-on-one, and it's very different to be in front of 1,000, 2,000 people as we've done on the road. But one-on-one, I feel more comfortable, and I thought that going back to school and becoming a counselor, a therapist, was something that the Lord had put into my heart to really talk with young people about what's going on in their hearts. And as you know, being an example, young people don't talk to everybody. They don't really even talk to their parents most of the time, but they need somebody that they can talk to. And so it became a real passion of mine, and been able to do that for the last 8 or 9, 10 years, part-time. But my passion's still to travel and speak and hear the masses and just let them know about Jesus, and let them know about what's important, and let them know the example that can be set from people that have tried the athletic world of what is important, supposedly to the world, but the real importance is what's behind that, and not just the show and the glory of a lot of things that they do. So,
you know, one of the examples that you set is you got your education, and you have a career, and you're a doctor, a real doctor. A doctor in what?
Psychology.
Wow. And
Yeah,
I'm glad he doesn't make me call him doctor, although I have the utmost respect for his example he sets for young people, because I'm sure that they look at you sometimes and say, you're a real doctor. and you're able to, from a godly point of view, talk about the choice to maintain good grades and stay in school and not follow the crowd, right? Yeah.
And it's still, I think it's just going to be part of our society forever. Athletics and sports are number one to these kids, no matter what. You can say you're a doctor, you go to school, and you know, some kids are like, oh, but most of the time when you say, well, we've been on the athletic field and we've participated in college sports or professional sports, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you're on a practice squad, like I was a few times, or you played full-time like Brett Favre. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They just say, well, while you've been there, I want to kind of be like you. So that's the number one, as you know, the number one draw. But then you're right. We can come back and say, well, most of you are not going to make it. You know, 95% of the people that try, it's difficult to be at that level of sports. But you can go back to school. You can be successful in other parts of your life, not just athletics. And you can go out and make a huge difference in other areas.
So the concept of example that I want you to really catch today is very simple, that we are an example, whether we want to be or not. And somebody's always watching and learning, and Scott goes out to kids' homes and actually encourages them. He's a living example in what he says and he does, and that's what we strive to do. And we want you to know that you know, it's not something that comes easy to us. We have to work like everybody else, but we have embraced that we are examples for the Lord, and people are watching today, and there are role models out there, and we want to be those role models, and with God's help, we can be those role models. It's a difficult task. It's not easy knowing everybody's watching and looking and observing, but you know what? What a responsibility, and what an opportunity it really is. I want people to see an example, not just hear words, but see an example in what we do. It is so important to understand example. That goes on all the time. I want you to check out our wellness tip of the day right now and enjoy this. All right, for a wellness tip today, we're going to exercise. I'm going to show you how to do something to exercise what's called the core. Very, very popular term today. We see it and hear it mentioned many times across the exercise game, the fitness industry, if you will, exercising the core. The truth is, it's extremely important. It's the center of your body. And what it's defined as in reality is from your chest down all the way to about the top of your knee, in the front, in the side, and your back. So it's the center of who you are all the way around. It's not just your tummy. It's not just a little pooch there, or whatever the case may be. It's more than that. It's where everything turns and rotates. For example, when we're doing a golf swing, or turning to get out of the car, or turning to pick up a baby, or dishes, or laundry, or whatever the case may be, it's where we're turning. It's the center of who we are. We see a lot of people these days have a lot of back problems and injuries like that because we're not exercising the core. It's become very weak. We sit too much. So I've always talked about standing more. We're going to actually do some series of exercises today on how to exercise that, and it's called the plank. The plank can be something you can do around your house. Very easy to do, and you increase the intensity by the amount of time you do. Now, the first type of plank we're going to do is called the front plank. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the front plank position right now. Now, I'm going to put my forearms down just like this. I'm going to extend my feet. It's much like a push-up position. Now, I'm working on keeping my upper body, my body in a straight line. It's called a plank, or sometimes it's called a bridge, because we're going to make our back muscles, our low back, our abs, and our oblique muscles very, very tight. So right now, as you can see, is I'm holding in a plank position. Now, as I'm concentrating, I'm fighting gravity, if you will, as to not let my pelvis muscles or my stomach fall to the ground. If I were to let it fall to the ground, it would do something like this, boom, and down. So I'm going to fight that gravity by planking. Now, as I'm planking right now, my core muscles, front, back, and sides, are very, very tight. I'm going to hold this position right now, and I can do this quite a bit, for, let's say, as a beginner, maybe 15 seconds. If you do this for 15 seconds, then rest for 1 minute, and repeat it again, about 3 sets, a couple times a week, probably good. From this position, I'm going to move to what's called a side plank position. It's an advanced move. If you've mastered this and you can hold this for 30 seconds, move to the side position. So, I'm going to do what's called a left plank. Now, Very difficult. I'm going to get on my left forearm right now. As I get on my left forearm, put my right leg up front. I'm going to use my right arm to brace me here. I'm going to come up on the plank and let go. Now I'm fighting gravity right now with just my left side. I can feel this right now, very, very tight. You want to hold this for about 15 seconds. It's much more difficult than the front plank position. So I've held that for about 15. You can see I'm already starting to shake right now. It's a very difficult exercise. Now, I'm going to switch sides and go to the right plank position. So I'm going to go to my right forearm here, brace my left, and come up. Holding tight here, fighting gravity here. Wow, that's really tight. 15 seconds. And hold. Now, once I've done that, I've done 3 sets. Again, start off with about 15 seconds in the front plank position. Don't go to the sides yet. Don't go there until you're able to do 3 sets of 30 seconds planks with a minute between as rest. Once you've got that down, you want to again move to the side plank position to work your side. If you're doing this consistently, you're going to get great results in your core. It's going to help you with averting and avoiding low back pain, not just now, but later in your life. It's going to strengthen your abs. You're fighting gravity again. Gravity is a powerful thing. It's that thing that can't be stopped. It's going to pull down. So if you're pulling up against gravity, that's the resistance. Do this about 3 times a week. 3 times a week, 3 sets, 30 seconds to the front plank, 15 seconds to the side planks, then 1 minute rest between. 3 times a week, about 3 sets, and you will see incredible and drastic improvements in the stability of your core muscles. Try that. You'll be amazed at the results. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That is a very important concept to catch what the core really is and what it's not. Some simple things that you can do during the day while you're at home, just in your normal tasks and routines around the house, or even in your office or in a motel traveling, to exercise and strengthen that core. Other products and services we have are not just about exercise. We have some other core products like I have right here in my hand. I have a meal replacement bar. These come in 2 flavors that we have, in dark chocolate and vanilla almond. You can order those on our website and our online store. I want you to do that and get on there and check that out, and understand that these things will help you out and achieve the frequency of meals you need to have. They'll satisfy the sweet tooth. They will satisfy a quick need for a meal in the morning. Don't skip breakfast. Don't skip meals. Eat every 2-3 hours on a daily basis. That will increase your metabolism. But check out our website. Check out the products and services we offer. We want to come to your schools too, and we want to get in there and do what we did recently in Arkansas, except for one thing. You're probably wondering what happened to Scott's hand. Well, this is what we don't want to repeat. If you can look at this hand right here, Scott, what happened to your hand?
Well, you know how impressive we want to be on stage to people, and that's probably behind everything we do. We just try and give them an opportunity to see some things that they would not normally see, to get their attention. And draw their attention to not us, but what the Lord has given us. But we were on stage doing some fire breaks and setting bricks on fire, which I had not done in a few years. And the lights are out, and there's somewhat of a distance between the bricks that was off just a little bit in my mind. And I just, you know, you get excited and you get your adrenaline going, and you want to do all this stuff for people to say ooh and ah. And again, trying to break one of the bricks with a nice karate chop. I just kind of missed the break by probably a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and it just snapped off the wrist on the right hand side. But it's okay. It's all worth it, really. It is. Everyone's like, why would you do? You know why? Because how many people saw and came to know the Lord that day from that show? Dozens. And so it's worth it. It's nothing.
We had, in a 2-day meeting, we saw nearly 150, I think almost 160 people give their hearts to Jesus. And I was kind of being facetious, joking about that's one example we don't want to repeat with the hand. Right. But as Scott just said, would he do it all over again? Yes. Would we break a bone for one soul? Yes. I've broken my arms, each of them, doing this. And it's not fun. but man, is it worth it? Yes. We all need to be examples today. And that's what we're so trying to do. We're trying to not only be the examples, we're trying to encourage others to be examples as well. And we're trying to give you the motivation and the desire and the purpose that you too are an example. And so being you have that responsibility and being an example, live it to its fullest. Step up, stand up, speak up, and have that courage to stand up for what you believe. Today, people are searching everywhere in the world for truth. They're looking everywhere. They're searching. Just like Scott was saying in his story a few moments ago, he knew that he had to find something. And just because he went to a Christian school, just because he went to church, that did not make him a Christian. Just because you hang out with Christian people doesn't make you a Christian. It's like saying, and I've said it before, not trying to be funny, but it's true. Just like going to McDonald's does not make you a Big Mac, or going to a pizza place does not make you a pizza. It's what you do and what happens inside you that makes you the individual person you are. It's about an individual relationship you have with Jesus. I want you to know that God loves you. He couldn't love you any more than He does right now. He couldn't love you any more because when we're at our very, very worst, God sent His Son Jesus to die for us. He not only died, but He rose again. And He's real in my life. I have a relationship with Him, just like I know Scott, just like I know past guests I've had on. I have a real relationship with Him, so we're doing our very best to live that relationship out by example, and we're using all we can, the gifts and talents and abilities we have, to be an example for Him. We want to come to your schools. We want to come to your churches. We want to see what happened in Arkansas recently happen in your church and in your town, happen in your communities, to change communities for the better. We all step up. We all become examples, and that influence becomes so strong we have more people standing up for Him. So contact us on the website, and I am so grateful that you came on to be on our program today. I hope you were blessed. I know I was extremely blessed to have my friend Scott with me today, and I'm going to invite him back. I think he's going to be back with us in a couple weeks again. I think he's cleared a schedule for that, and I'm excited about that, to hear some more of his past and some more of his present and his future. So, friends, God bless you. God loves you, and I want you to know I love you very much. And just be blessed today.